Big Poppa and Banna.
Yeah.
Say hello to James Lipton.
James Lipton, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Fantastic. Congratulations on everything. Can we just say, the show has kind of taken on a life for itself, right?
Oh, yes, indeed. We're going into our 21st season.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Last year we had our 17th Emmy nomination. This year we had our 17th nomination. Last year we won the Emmy. And this is remarkable for me because, after all, the show Inside the Actors Studio is nothing more nor less than a master class in the Actors Studio Drama School at Pace University. And that we could, with 17 nominations, we're the 5th most nominated show in the history of television. And we're a class. We're a class in a master's degree program. It astounds me.
Wow. That's incredible. James Lipton on the Lennon's Jewelers Hotline inside the Actors Studio on BravoTV.com. Is that how the show started? Was it came from the class? Is that because I don't know how the show started?
Grew out of the school. It was a class then. It was a class now, and it will always be a class. It's a master class in the crafts that we teach: acting, directing, writing. We teach our students voice. We teach them movement. So everybody qualifies to come in and teach inside the Actors Studio, and that's what the title means.
Now, before the show started, was it hard to get celebrities to come in? Because obviously, a lot of celebrities come in now to promote their latest project. Was it a struggle earlier on? And obviously, I would imagine it got easier.
When the show started in 1994, I would send out literally hundreds of letters saying. This is literally letters before the email, and saying, come and teach our students. Now, of course, they apply to us.
They apply to you now. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's correct.
As you start, again, we're talking to James Lipton on the Lennon's Jewelers Hotline. As it started out, and your season 1, season 2, was there someone that you really wanted to have on the show, in front of the class?
Hey, we started with Paul Newman.
Oh my gosh!
So you might say we got off like a rocket.
Yeah.
And Paul was then president of the Actors Studio, and he was my first guest on the air. And Alec Baldwin, then Sally Field, then Dennis Hopper. I mean, the show has been very fortunate in that. We were able to depend in the beginning on people who were members of the Actors Studio. Now, many members of the Actors Studio have been on. De Niro, Chino, Ellen Burstyn, of course. And we've broadened our scope and expanded our horizons. We have musical people. We have all kinds of people who have something to teach our students. That's the criterion.
Sure, and in fact, it was just announced that Sting is going to be on Inside the Actors Studio, correct? Yeah.
Sting is one of the most extraordinary evenings we've ever had. One of the most emotional evenings. He sings repeatedly, plays and sings. We go through his whole career. From his police years, he does Message in a Bottle. The audience sings with him. It's very, very, very touching.
Nice.
And he does 3 songs from the show. I recommend the show to you for many reasons, not least the last few minutes of the show, in which we've gone through his whole life, and we've discovered that he comes from this place that the last ship, where the last ship takes place. That is to say, the Broadway musical takes place, and that's his hometown of Wall's End, and much of it is based on what actually happened, including his own character, who really, essentially, I believe, represents him. And he talked to me in the course of the interview about how the last time he saw his father, who had never accepted him as an artist, who had never complimented him, never acknowledged him. Father was a tough old guy who wanted him to work in the shipyard, as the father had. And when he went to him when he was dying, he came from the United States to visit his father. And he sat next to him, and he put his hand on his father's hand. He said, Dad, we have the same hands. He said, and the father said, but you used yours better than I used mine. And Sting on our stage breaks down and says, that's the first compliment my father ever gave me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then subsequently in the show, I say to him, he says that, he thinks about his father all the time now as the opening night approaches. And I ask him, do you think that you finally, in the play, say to your father what you couldn't say the last time you saw him? And he said, yes, that's what the play is. And I said, do you wish that they will be there? That they could be there on opening night? He said they will be, definitely, yes.
That's incredible. Inside the Actors Studio on Bravo, we're talking to James Lipton on the Lennon's Jewelers Hotline. How do you prep for an interview? Like with Banna and I, and obviously we're more of an entertainment based, so we ask questions what we think our audience would be asking. Yeah. You're doing it more from a technical aspect.
Not technical. I'm doing it from the what I do is I'm given a huge amount of raw material in my computer.
Okay.
Just raw material from the day they were born. And then I go through it. I work for at least 2 weeks, often more, much more for Sting. And I 12 hours a day, just immersing myself. And I start at the beginning, and I begin to see certain themes. And a narrative evolves with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I follow that narrative, and I print out the 400 cards. But it takes 2 weeks of total immersion to do that. And then when I go on stage with the guest, we don't have to stick to them exactly, of course. And the guest doesn't know what's coming next, neither do I. It's a tightrope.
Yeah, you're just having a conversation.
That's correct.
Absolutely, and that was one of the things. Like, if just go have a conversation, and rather than so, what do you think? Just have the conversation. You get so much more from the guest. Do you agree?
Exactly.
It's intended as a self-portrait.
Absolutely. James Lipton on the Lennon's Jewelers Hotline. One more question. I know you have to go, and I definitely appreciate the time. When you do, say you know, we're talking about Sting right now, and obviously the amount of talent that you've had on your stage and on your show over the last 21 years is absolutely incredible. How long does an episode normally tape and then it gets whittled down to
about
the
5.5
hour?
to 6 hours.
Wow.
So you're sitting there 5.5. Is there any break at all, or you guys are just going?
We break. We break once between the interview and the classroom session with the students when they ask the questions.
That is, I'll tell you what, a
long time.
But I'll tell you what, how awesome is that to sit there with any of these talented actors, actresses, musicians, whatever, to get so in depth and to get that kind of, learning. That is absolutely, James. I know you have to go, and we definitely appreciate the time. Thank you so much, James Lipton, inside the Actors Studio on Bravo on the Lennon's Jewelers Hotline. Congratulations on everything, continued success, and we'd love to have you back on again. Whenever you're promoting something again.
I'm much obliged.
Absolutely. James Lipton, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to break and come back. Big Poppa and Banna on KISS FM.